storm there that you're looking at towards the west of the Regents building, overlaid with the radar here. The edge of that storm is now past 4:30. It's coming into downtown, and you've got the wall of wind and water headed towards the camera. So that is what we're looking at in the next 20 minutes. It's going to move through Pulaski County and be out of our hair. I do think we're probably looking at the latest radar scans. Probably going to see the power outage numbers climb just slightly, and they're back above 16,800 new outages in Conway County. I imagine there's going to be a few in Faulkner, Pulaski, and Saline County, and we'll get that information to you as soon as it is available to us. Hey, the good news. Let's focus on some good news. I don't see any areas of rotation along this line, maybe with the exception of being one in far northern Van Buren County, but I think this is mainly just a high wind event. And Barry was saying we get about a dozen of these a year, sometimes more. I haven't really seen too many of them so far this year. And I want to also point out that if I loop this over the course of the last 2 hours, I think the line is becoming less organized as it moves into central Arkansas. So back towards the Russellville area, the Hot Springs area, where we had some higher wind gusts, looked a little bit more put together. The returns were a little bit hotter as far as those bright red colors, and you see that as it's moved towards central Arkansas, there are still some pieces of this line segment, but it's starting to fragment just a little bit. And as that happens, we could still see some damaging wind gusts, but I really think after 6:30, the severe threat becomes a whole lot more isolated. I don't think we're going to have a need for large severe thunderstorm warnings all the way down the line past 8 o'clock. And by that point, the line is going to be moving into eastern Arkansas. I don't expect the severe threat to just go all evening long out in eastern Arkansas, but for those of you that are in the metro area or just towards the east, I'm going to put a storm track on this as it moves east at 40 miles per hour. And I do think the line is going to eventually slow down, but just for reference, Cabot, we expect this to reach you by 6 o'clock. Pine Bluff, probably around or just before 6:30. I think the line is really picking up speed here. And so I'm going to move the track a little bit further on towards the east of Pine Bluff, so maybe towards 6:15 or a little bit earlier, and then off into eastern Arkansas after 7 o'clock. I will go back to our camera here as we're watching the wall of wind and water coming into the downtown area, and it looks like the National Weather Service is just continuing to issue severe thunderstorm warnings. That new yellow warning box includes Heber Springs. Western White County goes out to Cabot. It includes Lone Oak, North Little Rock, and Valonia as well. And looks like, and we've said it 100 times, I mean, this is strong winds. The primary threat. Can't rule out an isolated tornado still, but that is what the main issue that we are looking at. I'm looking, one last thing before I send things over to Barry, is wind gusts along the line. And one of the newest wind gusts that I see is on the Saline-Pulaski County line. There was a 42 mile per hour wind gust. The line has not yet made it to Adams Field, so we don't have an update on wind from there yet. But still, the strongest wind gusts of the day was at Russellville, where we just showed you some of those damage pictures, and we still have some damage pictures coming in. Again, every person that sends us something, we look at it, we appreciate it, and make sure you never put yourself in harm's way if you're going to send in a damaged photo. And I got some pictures of lightning in there as well. Lots of cloud-to-ground lightning, and goes without saying, you certainly don't want to be outside during these storms. But Barry, I think you may notice it too. The line just not quite as solid as it once was. I think it's a sign that the weakening process has started.
Yeah, I really hope so. I did check on Entergy outages here in Pulaski County, and there are some. I can't get an accurate number right now, but all along Rains Road, Baseline Road, down into Otter Creek, most of Otter Creek without power right now. So that area where we showed the winds kind of at a maximum for a brief time as it approached I-430, apparently it was strong enough to at least cause some power outages there, and then not as many as it moved on up into the Little Rock area. So it was stronger there and weaker now. If we look outside, James, I don't know if you've been outside, but we should be getting some pretty strong wind gusts coming through the Heights and moving down into the Riverdale area of Little Rock and then over into North Little Rock coming up. Just heavy rainfall now covering all the way the western half of I-630, moving into the Fair Park area, and then it will be moving into downtown as well. Let's take a look at what it looks like outside, and this is looking from the building right here back toward downtown. This is the bottom of the shelf cloud as it rolls over us. It looks very ominous, and it is a sign that wind is coming out in advance of that storm. And so we'll continue to watch it. We'll watch the velocity product. That it just doesn't look as strong. There still is wind back behind this storm. The bright greens, Lake Conway down to Mayflower. But radar-wise, right along the front edge, and the great news is we don't see rotation. We don't see tornadoes, even small as they would be and brief as they would be, embedded within this line of just wind coming out. We thought wind was going to be the big issue. It is definitely the big issue so far today, but only for a few spots. And it doesn't take much to push a tree down, take some power lines down, and take power out to a number of people, even if it doesn't affect an entire neighborhood. It affects one little small area. And I think we've seen that happen in a number of instances. Entergy outages right now at 9,600, but total state outages holding steady at about 16.6. But this, I'm just looking at a source here. I don't think that includes the Pulaski County ones so far. So we'll continue to watch that for you. I think it's going to be a little bit higher number as we get into the early evening hours. Here's an overview. I don't want to get too zoomed in for you, but you can see all the way there's a little thunder shower out in advance of the line, though, moving toward White County. It's moving through Faulkner and Pulaski County, down through Grant County, and on down to the south. All of these are severe thunderstorm warned. Not all of them will have the ability to be big wind producers, though, and I think we're seeing that just in a few spots, really, as we head through the evening hours. Again, if you've got an image or a video to show us that you've shot, that you're safe, you don't put yourself in harm's way of trees down or anything, send it to us via Chime In at the KATV News app or at katv.com/chime-in. And we're going to continue to watch this storm as it moves on through the state. I'm going to get a couple of other spots here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like looking off to the west. And you can see the rain now just overspreading the city of Little Rock. The leading edge is now out to the east. And with it, you'll see that's the camera out on Chenal Mountain. So just pouring rain out in that area. Again, we're getting a few reports of damage in. A lot of trees that were split or tree branches down. Metal roof of a chicken coop taken off out in Havana. And some other spots, obviously, where there were trees down and it caused power outages, most notably down into Pike and Howard County in southwest Arkansas. Our tornado watch will continue in effect until the storm actually crosses your area. And then it will not be there anymore. You can see how the western part of the state has been taken out of that, and very quickly counties will be deleted on the back edge of this as we head through the evening hours. Now, I know it's in effect until 10 o'clock for you folks in eastern Arkansas. It'll never make it to 10 o'clock in the eastern portion of this. It'll be gone long before that. We'll continue to watch for any signs of wind or wind kind of ramping up in a few areas, but our threat is going to be done. This is a fairly quick mover, and I think a few more areas are going to have some brief gusty winds, probably moving into an area, though, where the atmosphere is not quite as conducive to severe weather. Not that it was super conducive today, but that big line of wind moving out there, I really think this is going to start to calm down, especially as we head about into that 7 o'clock hour, maybe even the 6:30 or 7 o'clock hour. But we're going to continue to watch it for you as it progresses through the state.
I do not anticipate the need for us to be wall-to-wall through the 6 o'clock newscast, so we will begin the 6 o'clock newscast on time. If you are here to watch World News Tonight, we apologize. We're just going to stick with these storms as they come through the metro area and looked pretty strong right at 6 or 5:30 when we ended the 5 o'clock newscast with some wind that was pushing into Little Rock. You can see the Regions camera shaking. Their visibility has dropped, and you see the headlights there on 6:30. Definitely one of those evenings where if you have to commute this late in rush hour, not a fun time if you happen to get stuck in traffic. I'm actually looking at the iDrive camera network, and the heavy rain continues across central Arkansas, really no matter where you go. The good news is I don't see any accidents on metro area roadways. The only accident I see is on Highway 70 in Garland County. All westbound lanes are impacted, and that is in the Hot Springs area near Rockwell, and that's on Highway 70 in the Hot Springs area. So no issues in Little Rock as of this moment with what's reported by RDOT. The severe thunderstorm warnings continue, and I'll point something out to you. We're starting to see outflow right here along the leading edge of this system, and that's a good sign. Outflow is cool air that rushes outside the storm. You can just barely make it out on radar, and when that happens, warm, humid air can't get ingested into a storm, and so the tornado threat is just about zero when that happens. And I think we're starting to see that, especially on the southern flank of the line. Perhaps we will start seeing it soon on the northern flank of the line. But this storm that's moving through Little Rock, it's going to get through here pretty soon. And once it does, our severe threat will be over. And while rain continues off towards the west of the line, once the line passes you, the severe weather risk, wind, hail, the threat of a brief tornado, anything like that, the threat is over. So we'll go just kind of review as we have the last 10 minutes here before our 6 o'clock news, kind of what we're watching. The strong winds are still possible up towards Clinton and over towards Quitman and into Faulkner County. We did have a report of a tree down in Conway, and that was on the Centennial Valley Golf Course. I imagine there's a couple other places that did have some tree damage. And then now the leading edge of this line is also approaching Valonia. So you're about to see, you probably already did see, and I did see a photo of a shelf cloud. And the heavy rain and the wind is at least about to begin there. And as you look down the road into the Little Rock metro area, the very heavy rain now is getting into the downtown area. So that includes over towards the Big Rock interchange, all the way down 630, down into Little Rock. And now looking right at that area, we'll go back to the 630 camera, or the Regions camera looking towards 630, and it is windy and rainy. So if you have to be on the road, or if you know someone that is on the road, you probably want to be taking it slower. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that camera shot there as we look at the radar in downtown. And the camera's shaking just a little bit as the strong winds make it through downtown. And Barry, it looks like we have another iDrive camera up there on Storyteller that we can look at. It's one in the downtown area just to get a look at what's going on here on area roadways. Here any moment, we're going to have a report from Adams Field. The observations there will give us some idea as to what wind is actually making it to the ground. The actual airport has not yet given us a strong wind gust reading.
No, not quite yet there.
We got trees down right off of 430 in Maumelle.
Okay, well, let's come back to me real quickly. Just give you an overview. It is moving down through the Little Rock area right now, all the way from Clinton, down Highway 65 and Conway, east of town, and then moving into Grant County. Let's take a look at our downtown, one of the downtown Arkansas Department of Transportation cameras. You can see already in the west, starting to get a little bit lighter. Back behind this, very dark, very windy and rainy line.
630. I want to show you the view close to the River Bridge, where we have at least a few trees down, and maybe give you a view of the Arkansas River Bridge itself. Raining heavily. If you look at the trees there on the right and left side of your screen, they're blowing around quite quick. And somewhere in this region, there are at least a couple of trees down on the side of the interstate. Maybe not right on, but definitely on the side of the roadway. Hopefully, if you're out and about, you're taking it slow. Don't want to see any traffic accidents in this rush hour thunderstorm with the potential for high winds. I'm watching the observation very closely at Adams Field. Still, the peak there over the last 10 minutes has been 22 mile per hour wind gust, but the bulk of this line now is beginning to move into central Pulaski County. Barry, certainly looking at the radar, and you can come back to me on Max 1. I'll tell you, these bright red colors that you're looking at for Little Rock and off towards College Station, that is very close to the radar that sits in North Little Rock. And in fact, the radar is shooting up, and the beam height is about 400 to 500 feet. And so the wind speed that you're looking at there, those bright red colors at 400 to 500 feet, right through Sherwood and down towards the Little Rock Airport and down towards downtown Little Rock, equates to about a 45 to 50 mile per hour wind with higher gusts possible right in this zone. And we can actually measure that very close to the ground level because the radar is right here, very close to downtown. So that is some very strong wind that just came through downtown, that's just now crossing over the airport. We'll see You know, we know what the wind is doing at 400 feet. We will see what it's actually doing at the ground level because we have the airport right here just on the east side of downtown. But that's very strong winds. It's kind of pushing out in advance of the storm, and that's headed next towards Scott and eventually towards Lone Oak and the eastern sections of North Little Rock. You have the Galloway exit right there. That's right about where the leading edge of this is, and it comes with some very, very strong winds. And I would estimate maybe at the ground level we're probably seeing 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, at least with this. And there's the observation from the Little Rock Airport is 44 miles per hour. So Barry, it's just below severe limits, we think, but there could still be a embedded wind gust in any of this that gets up to 60 miles per hour for a little bit and downs a tree, maybe takes down a power line, and that's been the concern with this the whole time. But we know from the radar that's measuring the storm right here, the winds are pretty strong, and the latest observation from the Little Rock Airport, we have verified it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at where the power outages are in Little Rock, down around Otter Creek, along Baseline Road, kind of southwest. You get up toward Cooper Orbit and on out to the West Lawson Road. Not many, if any, power outages there. Just a few more along just to the north of I-630. So we're really talking about right that 430 and 630 intersection there along West Markham Street. I think there are quite a few outages there. And then not many more, and I'm just kind of looking at the map, and I'm just going to have to tell you about it. And then there aren't many more in the Little Rock area, and actually a few in the downtown area right now. Daisy Bates Drive, 15th, 16th, 17th Street, near the Mount Holly Cemetery. So there are some additional severe thunderstorm results, or the results of those strong winds coming on in there. I want to go back to the radar there. I was just looking at our severe threat tomorrow, and it really is a very, very low threat. That would be for Thursday, not for Wednesday, as I just showed you there. But as we look at the radar as it is moving on through, and again, we'll be going into our 6 o'clock newscast just in a moment or two, we'll see that the line continues to move through. Strongest storms really through the Little Rock area, I think, and there have been sporadic areas. If we can take our storyteller really quickly, this was the McCain Boulevard, and they kind of showed a maximum of wind gusts through there. Folks with their flashers on there because it's raining so hard. Everybody's going very, very slow, and that looked like a real maximum of wind there just a few minutes ago. So that max of wind was on the north side of the river.
Yeah, Barry, there's a 63 mile per hour wind gust on the Arkansas River Bridge at I-430.
Yeah. So that was the area that went on through, and that's certainly enough to push trees down. And I think there's so much wind there, I think cars are slowing way down in a number of spots. We'll go back, if we could go back to our storm scan and take me for just one moment on computer number 3. There is quite a wind there, Sherwood and headed up toward Jacksonville. So that is a lot of wind very close to the radar site, so it's getting a good picture of where the wind is, and it's along that I-57 corridor, the old 67 corridor that we would call it, 67, 167. And
tornado warning coming for Sherwood.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm looking at right there.
Oh yeah, it just wrapped up right there.
Can we go back? There, it would be right in this area where I just talked about, Sherwood, and headed up toward Jacksonville along the interstate there.
All right, it's right along the east side of Sherwood, right along I-57, US 67, Lantrip Road. This is currently south of Kiel. It's going to be moving towards the northeast. So we were already expecting strong winds. We could get, and remember, the radar is like less than a mile away at North Little Rock Airport. So if you're along Kiel, up towards Austin Lakes, all the subdivisions that sit on the lakes there, the Indian Head Lakes, make sure you are headed into the central part of your house. Let's get away from windows. We think this could be developing here over the next couple of minutes. And remember, tornadoes not expected to last very long today. And there's the newest scan. It's already up the road off Warden Road there. This is in Sherwood. The tornado warning also does include Jacksonville. So Jacksonville, you got a couple of minutes before this heads your way. But we want you to go ahead and get in your tornado safe place. I think that off towards the west, if you're back towards the Walmart in Sherwood off of, I would say, or the neighborhood market, I think this is off towards your east. This is closer to 57 and US 67. However, if you're up towards Jacksonville, Little Rock Air Force Base, any of the Jacksonville exits, go ahead and start moving towards your tornado-safe places. You're not going to have to be there long. This is probably, if a tornado develops, the type of tornado where you see down trees, down power lines, and maybe some roof damage as well. So you don't want to be outside or anywhere close. So Jacksonville's up next. There's the area of rotation there. It's just northeast of the Trammell Estates on the east side of North Little Rock and on the border to Sherwood. Looking at it, this is really heavily embedded in an area of rain. And Barry, we're looking for a CC drop. You may be able to see it better on, but there's definite strong rotation right there on the east side of North Little Rock with a really strong increase in winds and a possible tornado now on the northeast and east side of Sherwood, and that's headed towards Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's a lot of wind coming right there along I-440 where it joins in just south of Jacksonville and up to the northeast of Sherwood. Let's see if we can see anything as far as debris is concerned. It's very close there, nothing really apparent, but there's a lot of wind that is exiting. If we can take our other source, let's go ahead and go into computer number 3 if we can. And there it is right there on the south side of the interstate and I-440 right there. That is a tremendous amount of wind. Whether or not that's a tornado area, that is a real a damage potential very close to the radar site. So it is only shooting up just a few hundred feet.
Barry, that color you're looking at there, that's 90-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah, that's
at 300
really
feet above the
intense.
surface.
That is an intense line. And so you folks on the south side of Jacksonville, anywhere along I-440 right there, and it's spreading out. I think this is what this probably is a tremendous amount, and it may even be a thunderstorm that's beginning to collapse and a lot of wind coming out of the bottom of it, but it certainly looks like a strong one there. We'll go back to the other source, and I want to go to the velocity product with this. And we'll call out roads along there. There's Cloverdale Road, East Valentine Road, Governor Wells Road, and Collins Road. And you can see Dennis Lane, School Drive. So this is the south side of Jacksonville. It's really quickly approaching your area, just to the southeast of the freeway there. And I'll go back just a couple of scans, and you can see just the amount of wind that has really begun to burst out of this storm. Just a tremendous amount of wind in a very narrow corridor, as these things often do. And I think we could see significant power outages and trees down along that area. As I was looking along there, along the freeway, it still looks like traffic is moving, but there's got to be trees and tree limbs down within that area. Let's go back, and I still don't see anything as far as debris is concerned. With this, I don't think.
So there's just been a surge of wind and a possible wrap up to the point where you have a tornado, but especially on the eastern side of Little Rock and North Little Rock. I want to come back to look at what I'm looking at here on radar, and you often see this as you've got the big push of wind and you see the bright colors begin to flare. That's wind being pushed down. And as it's getting towards the ground level, even here on the east side of downtown, you're probably getting a stronger wind gust at the Little Rock Airport, which we'll look at here momentarily. On the north side of that, you can get enough, and Little Rock just gusted to 53.
Yeah, 53 mile per hour.
We might even see it go higher than that.
And it was south of where the strongest winds were.
Yeah, that's true. So it could have been higher up towards Little Rock and North Little Rock. Up on the north side, you have more of an opposing force, and that's why you can get a tornado to form on the northeast side, and that is what is headed up the highway towards Jacksonville. It's not going to be long. I think this is going to move through pretty quickly, but go ahead and get in that tornado safe spot, and even down towards Scott, Keogh, in the western section of Lonoke County. Lonoke, you shouldn't be just out looking at the window. I mean, this could be 50, 60, maybe 70 mile per hour winds with this that's pushing out of the Little Rock area with an embedded tornado possible on the northeast side of that along US 67. I do want to keep an eye, Barry, on the iDrive cameras that we have along US 57, along 440. I think that's where some of the highest winds are currently occurring. And no doubt that I think we're going to see some power outages with this. Looking at the Weather Service, there's a report of rotation heavily wrapped in rain. with the circulation that's coming up on Jacksonville. So it looks like on 440 we have some traffic stopped.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. This is very near the I-440 interchange with I-57. This is I-57 north, and look at the traffic that many cars pulled over on the side of the road there.
And I'm still getting, even embedded within the storm just to the east of the metro area along I-40, there's a signature for 70 to 80 mile per hour winds just above the surface. And I think 60, 70 mile per hour winds could be making it down to the surface pretty easily.
And I'm seeing them in Jacksonville now. The wind is really spreading out. So Jacksonville, hopefully you're in your tornado safe spot. Whether or not this is a tornado, there's plenty of wind out there. Just be very, very careful. And that's at Redmond Road, actually. That's where that is. So this is where the strong winds are moving in. And I'm seeing right at that spot, I'm seeing tremendous wind on the radar at the last scan. So the wind got so strong that everybody just said, we're pulling over and stopping.
Yeah, and I can't blame them at all. I've got a good shot of the wind here on Max 1. You've got and watch it in the loop. As the storm passes the radar, the wind begins to increase. You get those really bright red colors, and I've looked at the values for what they're at. With the radar being so close, we're looking at this storm just a few hundred feet off the ground. That's not far in meteorological terms. We've got 60, 70, and a couple of pixels of 80 mile per hour winds up 300 and 400 feet off the ground. That's very low to the ground, and it doesn't take much for a storm to push that down to the ground. And that kind of wind damage is going to do trees down, power lines down. That's no fun. That's some significant wind damage if it indeed does get to the ground. The tornado warning continues for Jacksonville. Cabot, Ward, BB, we haven't talked much about you with the immediate danger to Sherwood and Jacksonville, but we want you to go ahead and get in your tornado safe spots as well. You are in the tornado warning polygon, and the circulation that's possibly wrapping up right over Jacksonville is pushing off towards the northeast. But I don't want to forget about those of you just outside the tornado warning box. Moving into Lonoke County and the eastern side of Pulaski County, there's very, very strong wind associated with this as well. And you can really see the bright red colors there. That's the section of high winds as it pushes off towards the east. That's what we're concerned about for the most part. I'm sure we're going to get reports of some trees and power lines down from the east side of Sherwood, maybe the east side of North Little Rock, and then we're watching very carefully for the possibility of a tornado to wrap up here on the east side of Jacksonville. And I would say, we called for anyone near a Jacksonville exit to seek shelter. I think this is going to pass us very quickly. And it's heading up towards the northeast, towards Red Oak, and probably is going to stay on the southeast side of Cabot. Everybody, you want to be on the safe side with this, as we have, not only have we measured some very strong winds from the Little Rock Airport, but if those winds can tap up and wrap into an area of opposing winds, that's a really big deal. Barry, we're getting an area of rotation now that's wrapping up even tighter than it was before, and that's near Stonewall Drive in Jacksonville, in the vicinity of. That's what we're looking at right here on the east side of I-57. That is the area of rotation now where I think we could see a tornado produced at any moment. So make sure you're in your tornado safe spot just for a little while longer. Hopefully this doesn't get down, but we do think it is a possibility. The rotation continues to just increase just a little bit. It's taking advantage of the very strong winds that are just off towards the south. And so gate to gate there, and when I say that, I mean you're getting winds going one direction, winds going the other direction, and that is where our rotation is, right over Loop Acres Drive, again, moving northeast.
As James talks about this and shows it, take the storyteller, if you would, guys, and this is at Vandenberg Boulevard, so the entrance to the airbase there from I-57. There is some traffic there, but the rotation part of that is very, very close to this, maybe just off to the east of it, so that would be to the left. We're looking southward toward Little Rock there, but that's Vandenberg Boulevard, and you can see just a tremendous amount of rain along with that. There are a couple of RDOT cameras that are not functioning in that big storm there. So I don't know what has happened to those, but in any event, it's on the north side of town where this is. There's I-57 now, Right Loop Road, and we're anxiously awaiting a new scan to come in.
Big jump in power outages in Pulaski County.
Yeah.
3,000 plus now.
Yeah, and that was really, we saw it kind of in the Little Rock area, and then it didn't do much. And then when it got up into North Little Rock and eastward, that's when it really began to jump. And I'm looking at the Entergy map, and you can see the area that we just talked about. Jacksonville, a big chunk of Jacksonville is now without power. Of the vast majority of the area of Jacksonville is without power at this hour. So that's the big jump. The big winds, whether it was a tornado or not, we don't know. But that little notch right there, we're going to assume it is. This is a tornado-warned storm. And whether or not it's a tornado, it's time to get away from exterior walls and windows and get down low. This is a small community of Parnell and Diedrich Lane. And so off to the northeast is where we're going to be looking at this storm going. But all along the leading edge of it, I would say from I-40 northward, there's a tremendous amount of wind that is blowing out with this. This is just, it's like a bomb went off of just wind just rushing down to the ground. And all of a sudden, it began to do that. Not that we didn't see the storm and not that it didn't produce some power outages in Little Rock, but it really began to ramp up on the north side of the interstate there. And it just looked like it wasn't going to do much, but that's why we always look at those northern edges of those areas that are bowed out. I'm going to go back and just show you the radar. The leading edge of this is what we're looking at. So it goes all the way to Highway 5. It'll be bowing out toward Furlough, eventually moving toward Lone Oak. But I'm going to say that area north of I-40, look at this. It's a bowed out area, and near the north edge of it is where you can get those tornadoes that are generally very brief. If this was a tornado at all, and we're not sure it was, but 80 or 90 mile per hour winds, doesn't really matter if it was a tornado. And in fact, it would be over a larger area than a tornado would ever affect. And so that's why we were so worried about this as we really saw it. Still out to the east of Jacksonville, I think there is some potential for rotation. James, to me, on Graham Road right there, that just looks like a giant wind-producing, bowed-out echo.
Yeah, and I've got the storm relative feature turned on here, so it's a little easier to make sense of. And here's the rotation that I'm talking about right here. It's just to the east of really the Air Force Base and the US 67, I-57, and it's going to continue moving up towards the northeast. And so, you know, regardless of tornado, weak tornado, high winds, if you are from Ward, Beebe, Cabot, all the way down to Lone Oak, Pettis, I called out Scott, Keogh earlier. I think there's strong winds, and then you got the possibility of your tornado on the north side of that flank of strong winds. And so this is going to continue moving towards the northeast. They've shrunk the tornado warning box to drop Sherwood and North Little Rock, and so those locations are going to be clear from the tornado threat, even though it is raining and storming right now. The tornado threat has now really gotten close to the Pulaski-Lone Oak County line. And again, strong winds do look very possible down towards the south. The Little Rock Airport did record a 53 mile per hour wind gust, and it gusted that way for several minutes. The peak might have been even stronger than that, but you had at least you had 10 minutes where the winds were gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour as this storm moved through. And even if it didn't hit 60 miles per hour, that's very strong winds for a long period of time, and probably has done some tree damage or down some power lines somewhere here in the eastern section of Pulaski County. The airport sits right there. Here's Scott. The core of the strongest winds is now coming upon you, and the tornado warning, the second tornado warning in the state today, is for the area of rotation now that's along I-57 coming up on the south side of Cabot. Again, Cabot, no time to panic. We're pretty good at taking shelter from tornadoes. We had to do it quite a few times this year. You've got this large area of rain, and embedded within that rain is strong winds. At times, the radar has measured 60, 70, 80, 90 mile per hour winds just above the surface. We know that down at the ground level, we've had at least 60 mile per hour winds across several parts of Pulaski County, including 50 plus at the Little Rock Airport. The area of rotation right here coming up on Red Oak and Cabot, continue to shelter in place. Remember, you want to be in the dead center of your house if you can be, away from windows, and into your bathroom and into your closet would work great. As far as tornado shelters go, if you're in a pinch and you just need a place to go for the next 10 minutes, I think those will work great. This is approaching the intersection of Highway 5 and Highway 89. Very soon it will pass just to the southeast of Cabot and up towards White County. Down towards the south, still looking at a very strong push of wind that's
yeah, James, I
making
want
its
you to
way.
look at that.
Yeah.
It almost looks like that area is the stronger wind gust now.
Yeah, this is all pushing out towards Lonoke County. And Barry, this reminds me of that windstorm we saw back in 2023 in June. Just a massive area of wind came through Pulaski County and strengthened as it moved into Lonoke County. And you saw a lot of trees and power lines down. And I think on that particular day, we saw tons and tons of power outages. I don't know that we'll see that tonight. Hopefully not. But definitely there's the potential for trees and power lines down and damage. And we want you all to Lonoke, Carlisle, Pettis, Lonoke County, just get away. And the wind, the ground, of course, is not, you don't have as many obstructions out east of Little Rock, so you can get stronger wind gusts in those locations. And it looks like the wind's beginning to strengthen on the west side of Pine Bluff as well. I don't want to forget about you guys. You are under that severe thunderstorm warning as well. And Barry, I think very soon here, we'll get a good handle on what actually has occurred here in the Little Rock area. 26,000 is now what we're up to with power outages. That's 6,000 in Pulaski County. And I think it looks like the tornado warning has been canceled.
Right.
So this is going to be mainly for high winds. And I think the high wind threat is legit. I don't think it's just as scattered as it was prior to these storms really intensifying. I think there's a pretty formidable segment of high winds there from northern Grant County, Jefferson County, up towards southern Pulaski, and then the Lonoke County window of high winds. That's really the area that we want to watch. And that's where, if you're in that area, we want you to seek shelter. You just saw the severe thunderstorm warning box pop on there for Jefferson County down to Star City, England, those locations. Make sure that you are just inside as this passes you by. The big storm that just went through Pulaski County, it's down some trees and power lines. The worst of the rain now is beginning to exit Little Rock, and it's out towards Scott, down towards Keogh, and it really, unfortunately, I'll draw this on here, this is kind of pushing out towards the Lonoke area. You can kind of see the whole, the backwards C shape there. So Barry's called it pretty well. You got that bow shape, and that's where the wind is pushing out and actually reaching the ground level. And at times, that's been up to 60 miles per hour at Little Rock Airport, Barry. If you can believe this, between 5:49 and 6:05, Little Rock Airport was gusting between 40 and 50 miles per hour, and it just didn't really see much of a break. So this is quite a storm that just came through Little Rock.
Yeah, and we are watching out to the east of town. I just checked FlightAware to see if any flights were inbound to the Little Rock area, and there is one from Chicago, and it's way out east of town, and it's circling, and will probably, it may very well divert somewhere because it's going to be hard to get through this line, and there are other flights coming in. But you can't land with winds that strong at the airport here. And we continue to watch several spots. Can we take the other source here? And I'm just going to go down this line because there are just a few spots, most notably Pulaski into Lonoke County now. But there are a few other spots that I'm looking at, and one is down around Risen. There's just a lot of wind energy with that. I don't think what we saw here in Pulaski County, but we're looking a little higher up into the storm. So all along from Risen on up into the southern part of Grant County, there is definitely some wind with that. Jefferson County, rather, there is some wind with that storm. There are winds moving into the Pine Bluff area, bowing out a little bit, maybe just from Watson Chapel up to Whitehall. But what we're looking at along that line is really a lot more pronounced out to the east of town. And the areas from Cabot to Lonoke right now is bowing out more than it was a little bit earlier. Now, this very strong wind on the south side of Cabot right here, that's something you need to be in a safe spot. You're in that severe thunderstorm warning. It doesn't look like it did when it was in Sherwood back up to Jacksonville. It still looks quite strong. Those brightest pinks, and to the north of I-40, just to the northwest of Lonoke. But this whole area is going to be coming through. And we've said it before, not everybody's going to have severe wind gusts with this because there are little hills and there are trees to kind of provide friction. But in some small corridors, you could have very strong winds that are kind of higher than the rest of the terrain around you. And you can have those winds that do produce power outages. And that certainly, that power outage number has really, really gone up. As far as Entergy is concerned, I'm continuing to look. Jacksonville, still a bunch of Jacksonville without power. It's an Entergy city, not at the air base, really no power outages there. But then North Little Rock Electric, I'm not seeing it on this map, but as far as power outages statewide, I'm going to refresh the number. We've jumped from around 16,000, and it held steady there for a long time, to 26,300 right now. So in and around the Little Rock area, primarily, we've had about 10,000 without power. That's the area that we started seeing the numbers go up, and that's the 10,000, I think, that we're seeing now that have been added. So over 26,000 without power, according to poweroutage.us. As we go back to our map, everybody is going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning, but there are going to be spots along this that we're really going to watch. And boy, that storm south of Cabot, it still looks like it is a giant wind producer along Dogwood Lane, Wilson Loop, Highway 321 that runs out east of town there. And I believe it's the community of Sylvania out to the east of Cabot there that we're going to be looking at some very, very strong winds. It's not a huge corridor, but that is a real wind problem, I think, as it heads out to the southeast of town. We'll put this into motion just over the last few frames, and you can see I think it's accentuating just a little bit. It's actually getting a little bit stronger as it moves toward Sylvania. A number of small communities of homes out that way. Get into your safe spot inside the interior of your house. This is not a tornado-warned storm. Hardly matters today. Don't get around windows in the exterior of your home. Get into that interior spot and doors and windows. And it's not going to last very long because these are moving very, very quickly. But that is a real maximum of wind. And I think just generally speaking, as we head through Lone Oak right now, it's a big bowed out area of wind. There are going to be strong winds there that could approach the severe levels. I don't see any one spot that really stands out, nor do I see any rotation with that. But the one to the southeast of the Cabot area right now, I think, is our strongest gust along the entire line. And you'll see Campground Road there, and Bridle Path, Covington Road, Seaton Road, as this moves just to the north side, along and just to the north of Highway 321 that runs out southeast of Cabot there. So get into that safe spot in your home. I'll back out just a little bit, but really it shows up very well where we look for this stuff. It's a bowed out backward C. See that? And at the north end of it, that's where we would look for it. And by golly, that's where we see the strongest winds. And that's where we would look for a tornado threat. Although I don't see that there, we're going to treat it really like a tornado threat in this severe thunderstorm watch box because of just the strength of the wind. As we go on up, I think there are more storms that we'll be looking at. Hopefully this begins to die down, James.
I think it will. I have some pictures of very large trees down in North Little Rock, on the east side of North Little Rock, close to the freeway. Also in the vicinity of my mom's house, a next door neighbor lost a giant tree in that area. The area of rotation that we're watching in northern Lone Oak County, and Barry, you've been pointing it out near Sylvania, we think it looks a lot like wind. Still think there is some weak rotation in that area. So just because the tornado warning expired, hopefully you didn't just go outside to look at it, but it's moving off towards northeast. Still some very strong wind possible in that area. The strongest winds, though, still look like they're down towards the Scott areas and down into western Lone Oak County. I'm continuing to look at iDrive, and the Weather Service, Barry, just pointed out that they are watching the area of weak rotation near Cabot, and they'll issue a tornado warning if it looks like it is going to intensify at all. So for the viewer, having known that, we had an area of rotation that went through Jacksonville and at least very strong winds to the south. We're watching that very carefully, and really it's going to be southeast of Cabot. And if there's a tornado warning, it's going to include northern Lone Oak, southern White counties as it moves towards the northeast. So just keep that in mind. If you're trying to make a decision on whether to seek shelter or not, it's probably a good idea to get in that interior room as these storms are moving through. The strongest part of the line really is in central Arkansas. That northern section of the line has really started to fall apart. Still some high winds possible up into Cleburne County, maybe Stone and Izard counties as well, but I think the strongest portion of the line is off towards the east side of the metro area now. So we'll see if a new tornado warning gets drawn up. But I do think, as we approach 7 o'clock, this is going to begin to really take a downward turn as this stuff moves into eastern Arkansas. Got more pictures of trees down in Benton. Lots of lightning strikes. And Barry, I think there were quite a few. I don't think they were just all together, but I think there's quite a few trees that are downed, especially on the eastern side of Little Rock and North Little Rock. And it looks like the highest wind gusts that I could find from the Little Rock area was 53 at the airport, 63 on the river bridge. The North Little Rock Airport gusted to 43. I think the core of the highest winds was between the Little Rock Airport and the North Little Rock Airport. Of course, there's no measurement in there. And this just in, the Carlisle Municipal Airport just had a 54-mile-per-hour wind gust. And let me show you how that happened with the storm being off towards the west. As the storm approached, there's a cool rush of wind in advance of that, and that's why you're seeing showers pop up right over Carlisle. And that rush of wind got to 54 miles per hour at Carlisle. That is just in on our observations. Still looks like some of the strongest wind are off towards the west. So that was looks like that was just now. Yeah, that just happened. And the Little Rock Air Force Base had a wind gust to 41 miles per hour, rather. And I'm continuing to watch for some ground truth. You know, when these storms were just west of Little Rock, we had, they really intensified as they came through Little Rock, Barry, kind of right over Pulaski County and right over West Little Rock, and then intensified even further as we got towards the downtown and the east side of downtown. I'm not sure that there's much of a story can be told on our iDrive cameras looking east, but we're going to look, and it's probably going to look a lot like heavy rain and lots of wind. And also, there's a picture of a large tree branch down. That's from Stacy's Spivey,
in Benton.
and that's in Benton. And you see, you know, at first glance, you go, well, that's a small tree. Well, I think that's a very large tree branch that must have fallen from up above. The line of storms, as it advances east towards Carlisle, where we just had a 54-mile-per-hour wind gust, not yet pouring there. Everything looks okay on the iDrive Arkansas camera, but just towards the west at Lone Oak, this is what we're dealing with. Lots of wind, lots of rain, and thankfully a tornado and severe weather threat that is beginning to lessen. And Barry, these storms, we do think, I don't think this is just going to continue indefinitely. I think this is going to be wrapping up here pretty soon with Barry, I think we have a game on. I think we have an NBA game tonight. Do we not? Maybe we don't. I'm
not sure on that, but we'll check for you. In any event, we hope that we don't have to stand any longer than we do. But we are not going to abandon this big wind producer. It wasn't a big tornado producer. We're fairly certain today, but a wind producer certainly as this area bows out. Headed toward the Carlisle area right now. Just a large, generally very strong wind gust. That's out to the east of town there. Here's what it looks like just on radar, which is we call it reflectivity. And you can see not only do these little segments that bow out have the potential for wind, but the whole segment, look at this. Where did it bow out most? Right here in Little Rock. And at the peak of that eastward extent of this is where you would anticipate the highest winds, where the winds above the surface of the earth are intersecting that line and driving the rain chance and driving the winds out with this. So that's what it looks like. This is going to wrap up at some point, but for right now, we have to keep an eye on storms. Looks like just some gusty winds out to the east of Risen and moving toward Friendship. That is a severe thunderstorm warned area. All of these areas that are touched by the storm will be severe thunderstorm warned. Pine Bluff, you've got a storm coming through. I don't see a lot in the way of wind there, and that's great news. But out east of town, pardon me, we're looking at that between Lone Oak and Carlisle. And then the remnant of that storm now that was east of Cabot, still a wind producer as it moves south of Beebe, and it'll move just into the southern part of White County. It doesn't look like as intense a wind producer as it was, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a wind producer all the way down to Highway 31 there. So the whole thing kind of bowing out at the north end of this line.
So there are quite a few power outages showing up across South Arkansas, Dallas County, Clark County. And so this line segment that's advancing towards the east has probably done some sporadic wind damage for areas back towards the west, and this line continues to advance east as well. Eventually, it's going to run out of gas, but for areas towards the east, Pine Bluff, Stuttgart, Dumas, Monticello, everyone in between, strong winds are going to be possible with these storms as they move towards the east. The power outage count is now getting very close to 30,000. And of course, the highest number is coming out of Pulaski County, where we have 7,600 households without power, probably sporadic. But I do know of some wind damage that was done in North Little Rock with large trees, and now the wind damage that is likely being done in part of Lonoke County with the high wind gusts there to Carlisle. And the Carlisle Municipal Airport there is right on the right there, just towards the north of town, very close to the freeway. Barry, it's kind of weird to see that so far in advance of the storms, but I guess it got very windy in advance of that cool outflow rushing through there. Looking further towards the north, the Searcy Municipal Airport had a 26-mile-per-hour wind gust. The winds just do not seem to be as strong towards the north. Of course, the bulk of that line is still back towards the BB area. And the heaviest rain now is beginning to decrease in the Pulaski County areas. This is pushing off towards the east. I do think the tornado threat, we've had 2 tornado warnings today. We said the threat was low, but not 0. I don't think it's too terribly high going forward. We'll watch that line. I think the best chance for one is going to be along this line that's pushing through Lonoke County, though right now I don't see anything that really grabs my attention for an imminent tornado threat. I think this is a lot of just, as we've been saying, a lot of a threat of high winds.
All right, we have, just looking at the aircraft that are inbound to Little Rock, obviously not landing right now, but we have two planes coming in, from one from LaGuardia and one from Reagan National and one from Dallas on the back side of this, and they are all turning around and circling and may in fact be diverted. So if you have some folks on those planes, I just wanted to let you know nobody's landing or taking off at Little Rock right now. Although the strongest winds right now are running from the Pine Bluff area out to the east of Little Rock. The more bowed out the area is, the stronger the winds are, and these are severe thunderstorm warnings. And a lot of times we do tornado coverage here, and you may be used to that, but this is severe thunderstorm coverage that we have had verified damage in some spots, not everywhere, and power outages, and we continue to see that possibility for a while longer. And hopefully this begins to get some outflow to it, and we don't see the ability for these storms to really maintain themselves. But for now, we're going to continue to watch the storms as they move out to the east of Little Rock. They move south of BB. And I'll show you really the area that we're talking about. That area that was really concentrated around Cabot has spread out, just crossing into southern White County, south of BB. So BB, you're going to be in an area, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, where there's going to be very strong and gusty winds. And all along this line, we'll watch for signs of rotation. It'll be coming up on Carlisle, and it'll be moving off into the eastern part of Lonoke County. And then on down to the south, there could be pockets of stronger winds south of Pine Bluff all the way down to Friendship along Highway 63 down to the south of Pine Bluff there. And as it moves off to the northeast, yeah, there's still going to be that potential there, although I don't think it's quite as high a potential as out to the east and to the northeast of the Little Rock area. But severe thunderstorm warning for sure along these. There are little pockets along here, and some of those could be bowed out because of a little extra wind coming through. We're looking for local storm reports, and there have been a number that have come in since earlier, but you can see a number of wind damage reports over in Yell County, back into the western part of Garland County, down into Pike County, where we really saw the power outages start to really ramp up earlier this afternoon.
All right, Barry, we have looks like the area of wind is starting to just be a little bit weaker. And I think the tornado threat has really decreased in the last 30 minutes since we saw this try to form in the eastern part of Pulaski County. So storms, I think, are taking on more of their regular springtime form as they move off towards the east. We only have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, and both of these warnings, both of these storms rather, starting to show signs of weakening. I still think that's to be the case, especially with the one east of Little Rock. Still some high winds possible with that, but I think we're starting to see things calm down just ever so slightly. The strong storms moving now through the Pine Bluff area. I do think strong winds remain a possibility, but I don't think it's going to be to the extent of what we saw that just came through the Little Rock area. I think that was the peak of the event. So I do want to walk you through radar and kind of what's headed into the Pine Bluff area and areas down in South Arkansas. We have sporadic power outages. We have just a tree down here, a tree down there, maybe more concentrated in the Little Rock area with the winds that we just saw. But you'll have your gust of wind, you'll have your rain, and then hopefully things will calm down after about 10 to 15 minutes. And that's what's about to happen in Pine Bluff and areas towards Warren. And the storm that's moving up towards Searcy and then into Lonoke County, we've got an area that's moving into, that'll very soon be moving into central White County and then towards Carlisle. I think the wind gusts are about to calm down. I'm looking at Cabot, Austin, Beebe, the Searcy Airport. The wind gusts at the ground level don't seem to rise to what we just saw that went through eastern Pulaski County, where we saw 50-plus mile-per-hour winds at the Little Rock Airport for 10-plus minutes. I think that was a bit extreme. So, Barry, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see another tornado warning tonight either.
Well, I hope that is the case for sure. The winds definitely east of town have calmed down, but from McRae, just moving into Carlisle, just know you're going to get some strong and gusty winds out there. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Please leave it right here. If we see anything begin to ramp up, like we did when it came through the Little Rock Metro, we'll, of course, be watching and right on the area very, very quickly. But for now, we're going to send it back to programming. I know a number of you are wheel watchers, and we're going to be sending it back there. But we have not forgotten about anywhere along this line. We just think for right now, the threat is diminishing somewhat, and we will make sure of that as we watch it throughout the evening. Leave it right here.